Hey guys, it's Mike here, and today on X-RL7 Backstage, I wanted to explore a couple of aspects of episode 3, and one of the voice actors in particular, my friend Michael Joseph, who plays Jared Nova, the rock star frontman of Cyanide 6. Michael is a really talented musician and researcher. He also plays the bartender in episode 2, and beyond XRL7, he did a couple of voices in my previous series, Sparkball, on the Project Anything channel. So I wanted to open it up and speak to Michael about himself, his voice work across both of the series, how I roped him into all this, and have a look at the music as well. So, without further ado, let's do it!
My name is Michael Joseph, and I got involved in the project probably around 2 or 3 years ago when Mike reached out to me. And during this process, we got to talking about our different trials and tribulations within our musical endeavors and vocal aspirations. And then from this, he sent me some of his music from Mixie One, which I really enjoyed, and also his animation series, which I enjoyed as well. And then he asked me if I wanted to try to do a voice for the part of the police chief, and I did a decent enough job that they wanted me back, and we've been at it ever since. I've been a musician since I was around 18 or 19 years old, and somewhere along the way I transitioned more into research, which delves into esoteric topics, secret societies, and all that fun stuff. And I have a YouTube channel, Schism206, that goes into that. Also a website, rockstaresoterica.com, and I host the Proud to Be Profane podcast.
We see everything. Well, whatever you're gonna do, make it quick and quiet. I've got a police station to run. I'll take it from here.
Yeah, the police chief, I tried to make it pretty generic and try to be like this grumbly kind of dude who sounds like he's pseudo-authoritarian, but no one really takes him seriously.
We're all gonna be in deep baloney after this.
Now who's thinking about the past? Apparently still you.
So Manglehorn was mostly inspired by my former drummer, who was Russian, and he had a deep Russian voice with this awesome accent, which I loved. And after hanging out with him for several years, you kind of absorb a lot of the accentuation of certain words. And so Manglehorn is inspired a bit by that, and then also movies like Rounders, where they're talking with the sleazy Russians. Of course, Hollywood tends to depict Russians as sleazy for some odd reason. We won't get into that, but I really loved our drummer. He was one of the hardest working musicians, and Manglehorn is kind of a pseudo-homage to him.
But not anymore. Spark's ass is mine. You know what I mean.
Hey, wait a minute. Aren't you that guy from that band?
Well, hey there! You want to talk about the bartender? Where he seems like he's kind of a friendly guy, but you're also a little suspicious that he might just be trying to take your money? Well, that's basically the vibe I was going for with the bartender voice, where I wanted the foundation of it to be like that douchey radio voice. Who is talking about ladies' night, and now, it's time for the hottest tunes. And I always thought that advertising and radio voices and their fakeness was always just kind of hilarious. So it's always fun for me to do that kind of silly voice. And I sort of incorporate that on the podcast at times. And I wanted that to be fused with these elements of like Quagmire and maybe even Norm Macdonald as the bartender in Deuce Bigalow. Terrible movie, but it's kind of a funny scene. And so I figured bringing all that together, that would be fitting for a douchey bartender.
Hell no!
We are Cyanide 6. Let's do this.
Oh, you want to talk about Jared? Well, of course you want to talk about Jared, because he's like the most chill dude ever. Why wouldn't you want to talk about Jared?
And so the inspiration for Jared was kind of a fusion between Slash from Guns N' Roses, if you hear him talk, and then kind of just emulating a cigarette-y voice, right? Somebody who smoked a little too many cigarettes. And even think about like Marge Simpson or certain Simpsons characters that have that scratchiness to it, and trying to implement that, you know, where it's like, oh, my special little guy! You know, it's got scratchiness and that airiness quality. So I was trying to infuse that with Jared, but like modeling it off of like Slash and having this sort of surfer California vibe or something like that. And so, pretty simple, pretty standard, but it's effective.
Dude, you're out of control. You're like a shooting star on a collision course.
Through the years, Michael has shared some of his solo music with me, and while mostly instrumental, there was a smattering of vocal songs. In particular, one called Johnny North caught my ear. And when working on this episode and discussing the character of Jared, the song came to my mind, and I asked Michael if he'd like to sing a song as the character. He said he'd give it a go, so I had to write a song. So I'm just having a go laying down some vocals for the song Out of Control. I'm just getting some ideas down for the chorus and seeing how they go. Oh, you're out of control. The shooting star is on collision course. In early 2019, I went about writing the song. I had in my mind right away that it would be playing over a montage of Alfie doing wild things, and the lyrics would reflect this. A song about partying too hard and over-dependence on alcohol and substances. A shooting star on a collision course, as the song goes. For Out of Control, I was going for this melodic arena rock vibe with hints of punk, but something accessible with a big chorus. It was a fun song to write, and like most X-RL7 songs, it all started on acoustic guitar. And here's some possibly embarrassing footage of me working it all out. Yeah, there's something a beat, and I love you, dun 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 dun. I've got something there. There's something there. Pour another drink, he'll make it 9. Oh, he says it's his own duty to live this life at the edge. Na 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 na. Learn the song. Don't you ever get. You get the idea. Once the song was ready, I sent it to Michael to do his thing, and honestly, I was blown away with how good and powerful he sounded. He really made it his own and brought it to life as a Cyanide 6 anthem.
Well, as for the songs, it was interesting for me because I'm not a singer, but I've been trying to work on vocals for my own project out of necessity in recent years. So this was a good opportunity to try something a little challenging, but also something I perhaps was capable of pulling off. And it seems I was able to pull it off well enough, and I wanted to match Jared's voice somewhat to the vocals, and so it needs to have a certain amount of scratchiness. So that's why in the verses you have that grit. You know, pour another drink, I'll make it 9, oh he says. But at the same time, Jared, like all rock stars, have a sweet, sensitive side. And so some of the vocal parts might call for that. That's a little more difficult for me to do at this time, so it's a good challenge, but it's also fun without so much pressure as I put on myself for my own personal projects. And moving forward, we're going to work on some more songs, and I think that they'll only improve from here.
Can you break me? Can you hear me? Can you hide my control? She's out of control, baby. You're out of control. Just out of control.
Thank you for watching. I really appreciate you all checking out the series. Do send some love to Michael Joseph, and if esoteric subject matter is up your street, then definitely check out his sites. If you'd like to support X-RL7, as well as sharing, commenting, liking, streaming, and all that good stuff, please consider supporting us on Patreon. There's some great rewards there. For example, if you want to hear my original vocal version of Out of Control, or any of the songs which feature a guest vocalist, there is a reward tier for that, along with instrumentals, alternative versions of songs, and more. So cheers guys, see you next time.